Hey, and namaste, Hashi babes. For those that are returning subscribers, welcome back. And for those that are new to this channel that are just watching me today, my name is Lady Dream and this is Life After Hashimoto's. Now, before I get into this very lengthy video today that we are going to have, so I am fair warning you, but it's for the good of health, Hashi babes. And this is going to be very important and it may just answer your questions as to the topic that we are touching on today. So, do me a favor before we get into it. I want you guys to follow me on Instagram, LadyDream890, and you can also like and follow the page Life After Hashimoto's on Facebook. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Did you know that nickel is a common allergy condition? I never knew that. I didn't know that up until today, but it took me back to my memory as a kid when I used to wear costume jewelry, and then by the time I take it off, my skin would be irritated or red. And it was probably depending on the costume jewelry I was wearing, whether it was lead-free but had nickel in it, or just had nickel in it alone. And whenever my jewelry turns, I noticed that my skin would also itch as well. Okay? Another thing that you guys may not know is that it has been estimated that about 8.6% of people may have it worldwide. Not only that, it is especially prevalent among young females, as about 70% of them have this condition. Especially for us young females that do love to go and buy costume jewelry. Be careful. Not only that, but I'm gonna also drop some gems on you as far as that, because it's not only in costume jewelry. It's also quite common in those with Hashimoto's and may even play a role in the development of thyroid nodules and autoimmune diseases. The more you wear nickel, the more you're exposed to it. And the more you're exposed to it, the more likely you have an autoimmune disease or thyroid nodule. So it can play a role in it. Also, my question to you Hashi babes, are you guys unable to wear costume jewelry? Whether if it's yes or no, comment down below your answers on whether you guys feel like you can wear costume jewelry, because I'm gonna also drop some gems in a few minutes on you on costume jewelry and whether if it holds a whole bunch of nickel in it. Many people informally discover their nickel allergy after reacting to inexpensive jewelry and cope with this realization by simply avoiding nickel-containing accessories. Do you know how hard it is for us women to stay away from this beautiful, beautiful costume jewelry? Do you know how hard it is? It's the center of our world, ladies. We love jewelry, especially jewelry that have rhinestones and these beautiful, beautiful diamonds and all kind of stuff. It's hard for us to stay away from jewelry because it's part of our fashion world, all right? However, many of us do not know that our chronic contact dermatitis and skin issues could be an allergic reaction to nickel exposure from other sources, including everyday metal items and ingesting foods. Not only are you going to find nickel inside costume jewelry, but you're also going to find it in foods. Yes, you can find nickel in foods. It is possible, Hashi babes. Don't look at me like that. My question to y'all is, are you one of these people? Are you one of those people with Hashimoto's that have a nickel allergy? These symptoms can be reduced with functional medicine interventions, because sometimes we have the tendency to think, oh, we have a nickel allergy, and guess what? Now we have to stay away from nickel altogether. No, there are medical interventions that could help us. But before I get into what types of interventions you could use and all that good stuff, let's get deep into the nitty-gritty of nickel allergy and Hashimoto's. So first off, I want to start by telling y'all what is nickel and where it can be found. Nickel is a silver color metal that can be found in rocks and soils, and it can form numerous alloys with other metals, like probably copper, iron, and other things, okay? But unfortunately, it can leach into our bodies from cookware and cooking utensils, especially when the utensils are heated up. And especially when you're using cooking utensils with acidic foods. So just know that you guys are not in the safe zone when you guys use cookware that have nickel in it. When you guys heat those things up, it seeps into your food. Once it seeps into your food, it seeps into your body, and now guess what? Your body is filled with those toxins that comes from nickel. For this reason, while stainless steel pans have been considered a healthier alternative, I don't even know how stainless steel could be considered healthy. It's steel. Since it's considered a healthy alternative to toxic Teflon-coated pans, nickel from the stainless steel pans can be problematic for some. And it can be. It could be problematic for some that hold a nickel allergy. Aside from cookware, there are many other places where nickel can be found. Don't sleep, ladies and gents. You can find nickel in other things. It don't have to be just jewelry. Okay? It don't have to be just men's rings. It don't have to be none of that. It could be found in other sources. Here's a list of common sources of nickel. From food sources, you can find nickel in chocolate, nuts, canned foods, black tea, shellfish, which I am very, very devastated about because seafood is my favorite, especially shellfish. I can't even say it properly, shellfish. Yeah. Yes, you could find nickel in shellfish. It is possible. And it is devastating because I love seafood. You can also find it in processed meats with fillings or casings like hot dogs or sausages. You can find it in any type of form of casing that you find in food. You can find nickel in beans, lentils, soy, which explains the soy allergy for me and why it bothers my stomach. You can find it in peas, wheat, which I'm allergic to as well. I'm allergic to wheat, oatmeal, buckwheat, seeds, bean sprouts, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, which is my favorite food. Devastating too. All right. Canned vegetables and hydrogenated oils. Be careful with what hydrogenated oils you use because it depends on whether if you're going to find nickel in it or not. You don't want to find nickel in your hydrogenated oils. But please note, the nickel content in these foods may vary depending on differences in mineral content in different soils and regions. Here's another source that you can find nickel in. Now this is the list for everyday products. You can find nickel in electronic devices including iPhones, jewelry, electrical equipment and household appliances, batteries, which is the NICD ones. The NICD batteries you will find nickel in. You can also find nickel in metal and coins containing nickel, which obviously nickel, you could probably find nickel in a nickel. There it is. You can also find nickel in pens, eyewear, credit cards. Ain't that scary for some that have a nickel allergy? That's scary. If I had a nickel allergy and I use credit cards every day, I would be going insane. You can find nickel also in clothing hardware, which is bra hooks, straps, zippers, buttons, and belts. I did know someone who was allergic to nickel even based on the button of their jeans. They couldn't wear jeans because the button on their jeans, they had to make sure that it wasn't made of nickel. Do you know how frustrating that is? I mean, you can always shop for alternative clothes, but what if you're in a jeans kind of mood and you want to put on some jeans? Now you can't because now you gotta be afraid of the nickel that's on your button of your jeans, okay? That's sad. You can find nickel in lotion that is containing shea butter, oats, or cocoa butter. So you guys have to be careful with what lotions you use as well, because some of the lotions that you use may have or may contain nickel in them. So if you do have a nickel allergy, be careful. The next main source that you can find nickel in is medical devices. And ladies, for those that are on birth control, one of the birth controls are listed on this medical device list that contain nickel. You can find nickel in IUD devices. So ladies, there are other choices in birth control devices, okay? So if you guys are taking the IUD, baby, if you guys have a nickel allergy and you guys are getting a reaction within your immune system or within your skin or anything like that, you need to take out that IUD immediately and find another source of birth control to use, because there's nothing worse than having an IUD device in you for birth control and then all of a sudden you guys are having a dysfunctional immune system or dysfunctional skin from that IUD. So ladies, keep that in mind, okay? Also, you can find nickel in orthodontic appliances as well as dental crowns and bridges. So for those that do have a nickel allergy, if you're going to the dentist and they do suggest you to have a crown or bridges, you need to ask them and let them know that you guys have a nickel allergy and if there's any other alternatives for you guys to use for your teeth, okay? Okay. Here are some other sources that contain nickel in it. Vitamins with nickel, tap water, tobacco, and public transit railings. So for those that do take public transit, especially in New York, if you guys are taking public transit and you guys are touching the railings, first of all, the railings on that public transit has nickel in it as well. So if you guys have a nickel allergy, stay away from those railings. Either that or wear some gloves or something. Stay safe. So I'm going to tell you guys what a nickel allergy is, okay? A nickel allergy, also known as nickel hypersensitivity or system nickel allergy syndrome, which is known as SNAS or SNAS, however you want to pronounce it, okay? I pronounce it as SNAS, results from an adverse autoimmune response to nickel exposure. This can result after the skin comes in direct contact with nickel for a prolonged period of time and enough nickel is absorbed into the body. So over time, it is possible that you can wear nickel over time. It may not kick in for 24 to 48 hours, but after years and years of you wearing nickel, it starts to absorb in your body, and then once it absorbs in your body, it starts to bring on toxins. And once it brings on those toxins from the nickel, the rest is going to react. Your body's going to react. Your immune system is going to react, all right? It is, over time, over the years, all right? Hypersensitivity to nickel can develop after brief contact with the metal or after several years of repeated exposure. It doesn't just take one day of you wearing nickel. It doesn't just take 2 days of you wearing nickel. It could take years on years to make it happen. Or if you're one of those people that are extremely sensitive to nickel, as soon as you touch it, it may just only take 24 to 48 hours. It just varies from person to person, okay? So don't be alarmed, all right? There's ways to figure out what your allergy is. We will get into that soon enough. Once the immune system identifies nickel as an intruder, it may trigger a reaction that may manifest as various symptoms. So there's many symptoms that you can get from a nickel allergy after you have been in contact with nickel, okay? Just know that. Nickel allergies are characterized by contact dermatitis, which are skin flare-ups, which we did talk about, all right? So if you guys have not seen my video on Hashimoto's and flare-ups, make sure you go on my channel and look for that video, okay? Because it's going to explain everything on why you get flare-ups with Hashimoto's, okay? And what the symptoms of flare-ups are. After touching nickel in systemic reactions after ingesting nickel-rich foods, you can get a reaction to not just metals, but nickel-enriched foods, which I did tell you guys about, but I will be getting more in-depth as to where you can find nickel-enriched foods. These reactions can be delayed rather than immediate and manifest within 24 to 48 hours after contact. So like I said, it can vary from person to person. You may be a person that when you're in contact with nickel, it can happen for 24 to 48 hours, or you could be a person that may not react to it within 24 to 48 hours, but after years of being in contact with it, you can wind up forming a nickel allergy after years of wearing nickel or ingesting nickel. So let's go on. Many women develop this allergy due to ear piercings or wearing a piece of jewelry that contains nickel. Now let me explain something to you ladies, okay? And gents, for those that do pierce their ears as well. When you pierce your ears, you are causing trauma to your ears when you pierce your ears, all right? And our body is prone to autoimmune diseases when you suffer from trauma. That's one of the things that you can get Hashimoto's or any autoimmune disease with, is trauma. And when you cause trauma to anywhere in your body, like your ears, your nose, you know what I'm saying, or piercings, or putting earrings in your ear, you're adding that trauma and you're also exposing yourself to that nickel, all right? So understand, what you do to your body does matter. Both Hashimoto's and nickel allergy are considered type 4 hypersensitivity reactions, as a reaction in both conditions can take several days to develop. All right, so this nickel allergy is type 4 hypersensitivity. All right, I don't know the types of hypersensitivity there is, but I do know that food sensitivity is type 4, as well as nickel allergy is the same reaction as type 4 hypersensitivity. So it's considered and categorized as type 4, okay? Common reactive foods in Hashimoto's are also type 4 hypersensitivity reactions, which I just touched base on. Type 4 hypersensitivity reactions tend to fuel one another. If you guys are in contact with nickel and foods, honey, that's just adding fuel to the fire, which is why we often see reactive foods flare up Hashimoto antibodies and symptoms. When you combine, say for instance, costume jewelry, if you're wearing costume jewelry that contains nickel, but then you're also ingesting foods that also contain nickel in it, you are not going astray from that. You are exposing yourself even more to nickel to the point where it can flare up your Hashimoto's and it can flare up your symptoms. And you're only making it worse by doing that. You're adding fuel to the fire by contacting nickel from jewelry and nickel from foods and putting it together. It's just making it worse. It's adding fuel to the fire, and you don't want that. So we're gonna figure out what steps to take on that eventually, but stay with me, y'all, okay? Symptoms of a nickel allergy. Nickel reactions and symptoms may include increased inflammation, as well as contact dermatitis, which is skin irritation, which can cause severe itching, warm and tender skin, fluid-filled blisters, which sounds very disgusting, and dry, discolored, scaly, raw, and or thickening skin. I never heard of thickened skin, never had that symptom. I couldn't tell y'all what that's like because I've never had it, so. But for those that do, Hashi babes that do, I sorely apologize, okay? No one deserves to suffer through that, no one. Symptoms of a nickel allergy can also manifest on the skin as hives or eczema, or internally as headaches, fatigue, and celiac-like gut symptoms. Flares of eczema on the hands after exposure to the metal are not uncommon, okay? So what they mean by celiac gut symptoms, people with celiac disease have also irritable bowel syndrome, okay? Both of those go hand in hand with each other. And when you expose yourself to nickel over time, it can give you irritation of the gut, which is one of the symptoms of celiac disease, as well as one of the symptoms for IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. And that could be so aggravating. I know I do have IBS. I did suspect that I did have celiac disease, but I already got tested for that and I don't have that. I just have IBS. Let's move on. The skin reaction can occur at the site of contact or sometimes spread beyond to the rest of the body. Say for instance, this is nickel right here, right? Which is not, it's not, okay? It's not. This is nickel free and lead free, okay? And I will be giving you a resource as to where I get this from. Say for instance, this is nickel and I put this on and I wear this for a good 2 days straight. All right, I'm not saying at one point I won't take it off, but say I wear this for 2 days straight, okay? And as soon as it's contacted with my skin, I notice that by the 3rd day, I'm itching. But it doesn't have to just itch my skin based off contact. It can also seep through my body as well because those are considered toxins, like I said. Let's move on. In other cases, one may experience a generalized rash around the buttocks, anus, genital area, and eyelids, also known as baboon syndrome. Baboon syndrome? Oh no. Okay, no. Oh no. To be honest with y'all, I have been through baboon syndrome, since they won't put it that way, okay? But I didn't get the baboon syndrome just from jewelry that I didn't agree with. I would get baboon syndrome, and it doesn't matter where. If it's one or all of those areas, it does not matter. If it's any of those areas or all of them, it's considered baboon syndrome, okay? And me personally, you do not want to go through that, okay? Trust me, I've been through this within my early stages of Hashimoto's and before I even found out that I had it. I was going through that and it was so irritating. Could I tell you, if I didn't repeat it enough, I repeat it again, okay? I don't want you Hashi babes going through that. So nip it in the bud. Find out if you have a nickel allergy, all right? Perhaps one of the most overlooked symptoms of a nickel allergy is reacting to costume jewelry. Common reactions include experiencing red, itchy, or irritated skin on the area that was in contact with nickel, as well as rashes, watery blisters, and hot burning sensations. That doesn't sound good, ladies and gentlemen, really don't. In extreme cases, jewelry such as wedding rings may leave the skin beneath it looking raw and inflamed. So say for instance, I have this ring on right here. Once I take it off, if you notice, I have this mark on my hand, right? But imagine this being extremely red and raw. That's nasty, okay? I've been through this with costume jewelry. Now I have to make sure all my stuff is nickel free, just in case if I do get irritated. Because personally for me, Hashi babes, I have sensitive skin. I have extremely sensitive skin. I cannot just put anything on my body. So I'm gonna touch base on that probably in a future video, but otherwise, let's move on. In rare cases, it can also cause respiratory problems like runny nose, nasal inflammation, asthma, and sneezing may also occur. So don't think that just because you have a nickel allergy, you only get the skin irritation and the watery blisters and what have you. It doesn't have to be just skin. It could also mimic allergies, or it could also mimic cold symptoms like a runny nose or itchy skin or nasal congestion. It can mimic that. So don't be fooled, all right? Don't be fooled at all. Let's move on. Here's how to test for a nickel allergy, okay? When it comes to getting a diagnosis, a patch test is generally the gold standard among conventional doctors. When I went to go test my allergies, I noticed that every time I tested an allergy, whether if it was broccoli that was irritating my stomach, any greens that irritated my stomach a lot, I noticed that when I went to go get an allergy test, they would do a patch test. You guys all know what the allergy patch test is. It's when you go to the allergy doctor and they decide to prick your skin or give you needles of a certain liquid that mimics a food or that mimics an animal or anything like that, or dust or what have you. And if your skin turns red, then obviously you're allergic to that. But nowadays, when I went, I noticed that I wasn't getting any results. And I'm gonna tell y'all why. However, this method sometimes results in false positives or fails to detect hypersensitivities. So sometimes when you go for those allergy tests or that normal allergy test that you would normally get from an allergist or immunologist, sometimes it may not pick up that allergy, or sometimes it may give you a false positive, but then turn out that it's not true that you're allergic to nickel or any other allergy that you may have. Here's how you can do it, okay? There is another test that you can do that is solidified, and I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. Delayed reactions and hypersensitivity to nickel can be measured with the commercially available lymphocyte transformation test, which is also abbreviated as LTT-MELISA. So I'm gonna call it Lit Melissa. All right, that's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it Lit Melissa, okay? That's the name of the test. This test is a whole blood test that measures one's lymphocyte reactivity upon exposure to metal, okay? So this test will solidify and measure your blood cells or your lymphocyte. It'll measure and tell you whether if you are reactive to nickel, period. Okay, this test will do that for you. And once you get your result back, if you're allergic to nickel, then, don't be sad, it's okay. But it's okay. You just gotta make some alterations with your lifestyle and your diet. It's all. It's not the end of the world. But if it does turn out that you guys are not allergic to nickel, then baby, I am so happy for you, because that's just gonna be something that is less on your list that you have to deal with, okay? With your Hashimoto's. This test can detect hypersensitivity to metals, including nickel. So it doesn't just test for nickel, but it could test for other metals as well. It could test for iron. It could test for any other metal there is. Copper, bronze, what have you. No matter what metal, okay? It can test for any metal, and it can measure it for you, and it could tell you whether or not if you're allergic to it, okay? Forgive me if I'm speaking in circles. This is a lot of info, all right? So let's move on. So you guys want to know the conventional solution to this nickel allergy and what you can do? The conventional solution to nickel allergy is simply avoiding any contact with nickel for life. Once you guys are allergic to nickel, there's not really much you can do about it, at least within the doctor's eyes. Within medical practice, there's not really much you can do once you are allergic to nickel. And I mean, in their words, there's nothing you can do. You have this for the rest of your life. This means purging your house of any metals that may contain nickel, like, for instance, kitchen tools, okay? So, personally for me, I don't know if I'm allergic to nickel or not, because I never measured for it, but I figured, why test the waters when I can just rearrange my lifestyle and remove it out of my life altogether, okay? So just know I removed everything out my kitchen, and I'm talking metal spoons, eating utensils, all that stuff. I swapped all of that out, okay? We gonna get into later on what you can do to swap out and what other alternatives you can use that may be just nickel free, all right? Let's move on to the next. After all, it seemed as a condition that is unlikely to improve. So to doctors and doctors' words, you're gonna have this for the rest of your life, and there's no way that this can improve. This is an allergy for you, and you just need to avoid it altogether, okay? That's their words, not mine. So normally what they do for you, if you do come in contact with nickel and you get skin irritation or you get eczema or anything like that that may be caused by nickel, normally they'll give you a topical corticoid steroid that they prescribe to help with acute eczema. So if you get any form of skin irritation, just know they're going to give you a topical corticoid steroid. It doesn't matter which kind, as long as it's a corticoid steroid. However, if you're someone that has never been the type to just accept your fate, there are unconventional interventions. You do know that, right? For those that don't believe in, oh, I have this for the rest of my life, oh, the doctor said it will never improve. If you're one of those that don't believe that, and y'all don't believe the hype, and y'all don't believe that this is your fate and that there's something you can do about it, baby, there is, okay? It's going to take some dietary and lifestyle changes that can help reduce your reactions to hypersensitivity and nickel. You're gonna have to just switch up your lifestyle and your diet. You get what I'm saying? That's the natural way of doing things, all right? Rather than just being a doctor telling you, Miss Bailey, you have a nickel allergy, you know? And there's nothing we can do for you. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not accepting that fate. Are you crazy? So we're gonna just switch up things. We're gonna switch up our lifestyle, figure out what stuff has nickel in it, and we're gonna switch up the lifestyle and the dietary lifestyle. You feel what I'm saying? There's always hope, guys. Always hope. Always look for other options. I may have happy news for you as well, Hashi babes. You may even be able to completely eliminate your skin flares. Now that I told you guys that, I know you guys are dying to know what it is on how to stop your skin flare-ups from your nickel allergy. There is a way to eliminate that, you know. Y'all guys want to know what it is? Well, unfortunately, you have to stay tuned for part 2 of this video. I do have a part 2 video coming up where I'm going to talk to you guys about how you guys can eliminate your skin flare-ups and what medical interventions or natural interventions you can do to prevent yourself from having this nickel allergy reaction, okay? If you guys really like this video, I want you guys to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on the side of me. So this way you guys are notified for when new videos are available, okay? I want you guys to stay clean, stay safe, wash your hands, and don't be nasty, okay? And wear your mask everywhere you go. Guys, it is still COVID, all right? And you guys are too sexy of kings and queens to be sitting up in somebody's hospital sick now, all right? I want you guys to understand that COVID is very serious. And due to the fact that I lost my dad to COVID, it's not something to play around with. So wash your hands, stay clean, whatever you need to do it. All right, so stay tuned for the next video for part 2 because it is going to come out soon, okay? I love you guys. I wish you guys nothing but love, peace, and positivity. I love you guys. Namaste. Bye.